Yes. Hello. Welcome. Go ahead, Janine.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the alphabet game. As I'm starting to share things out, because it takes me a bit longer, because, I live way up here in the north, and trying to connect sometimes takes a little bit of time. That's the story, and I'm going with it. Here we are in the alphabet game, and I'm going to just pass it over to you while I share it out. How's that?
Okay, excellent. Great, because I think I'm all set to go. Got it shared out. Oh, hey there. Welcome to the alphabet game. We're on to letter E. I know what my word is today. Let me give you a quick introduction. I'm Dr. Brenda, sociologist, financial coach, founder of Gutsy Women Finances Community, where fun and finances meet. Oh, hey, you know what? Please subscribe to this our channel's YouTube channel, and hit that bell to be notified of new videos. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am currently in San Antonio, Texas. I left my winter home yesterday morning. I was all set to get out really early, and I had RV problems, so my departure was like 2 or 3 hours late, and I've been running around this morning, driving a big rig into an auto mechanic shop where I've got this much space between me and the fence on both sides, navigating to get an oil change, and then had the RV service guy come over here to help with some stuff. And it's like 90 degrees here, Janine.
Wow. Well, I want to congratulate you. I want to get your energy. We're already starting. Your energy is still vital, and you've got that vigor, even though you've been on the road moving that big thing around. I mean, I had problems with my car a few days ago, just getting it out of a tight spot. So it's going to be fun. I will introduce myself. I love your introduction. I always do. I'm Janine McJanet. I'm a women's empowerment and play expert, coach, and hypnotherapist. I can't even say it. Hypnotherapist in rapid transformational therapy. And if you ask, what is that? Well, it's just about getting rid of the negative thoughts and patterns and beliefs and moving them around. So Dr. Brenda and I have come together to share in some fun and some play, which is why we've come up with the alphabet game. And
so I have to keep this shut because it's so bright out, but let me see if I can give you a glimpse. It's so see, it's just blindingly white out here. I'm in the country.
You're blindingly bright there, and so am I, but that's all the reflection from about the 6 inches of snow that has fallen over the last 20.
Yeah, I was telling Janine, I said, it's so bright because we're used to doing this in the morning, and it's sunny here, but in the Yukon it's dark. So it's like, oh wow, you look so different now.
Well, you'll see.
So light.
And I've also woken up. I've had a shower, and sometimes I just don't get that shower in before when it's dark. And it's not a big deal. It's just it's making the inquiry upon ourselves to be able to see what our choices are in the morning. Like, that is it, the inquiry, right? Do you know what I mean by that?
Well, I do, but I struggle with that. I wake up and it's like I'm trying to get my head clear and get it into the positive frame before I get up. It's like, okay, don't go there. Okay, don't go there. Okay, come on back.
Yeah.
It's engaging.
Oh.
It's okay, so I have a word for today. Do you have a word for today? And then maybe we can go through some of the suggested words.
Yes, we thank you for sending in the suggestions too, because that makes it lots of fun. And we want to engage with the audience, which is part of the reason we're doing this, as well as engaging between ourselves. And that's one of the words. I've got so many words that come up. It's funny when you start to think about something that is really important to you that starts with a certain letter, how much stuff really can come up. So engaging, and that's what we're doing. That's part of being an entrepreneur. another one, I just had to put it there, right? Is that we want to engage with people that need our services, that people that we want to build relationships with and connections with, and how to get the message out. So I've got another really good word, but I'm going to pass it over to you because I want to hear what your word is. I've got a clue.
Well, I think you know what my word is. My word is exhausted. The amount of effort I put in this winter to grow my business, build my business, get my business moving forward was exhausting. And as an entrepreneur, I really need to look. I mean, part of this was planned, and because the summertime I like to goof off, but now I have to commit to playing this summer and goofing off like I had intended to, because I cannot continue working at this pace. Throw in driving the big rig, towing a Jeep is also exhausting sometimes, you know. And so I had a long drive yesterday, got a long drive tomorrow, got a long drive the day after, and it's zapping my energy. It is, but I've also recognized a pattern in myself, because this is nothing new. I will work and work and work. Partly I get so passionate about doing something that I have to finish it. I don't want to get caught midway through it. So I continue working, and then I usually crash, and I'll crash for 3 to 4 days, and then I come right back to it. So it is a pattern. And that's always been, I think, my entire life. That's the way I've worked.
Two things just came up for you as you were saying that, and that is efficiency and excellence. And that's what I see from what I know from you, is that you strive for every day, that efficiency and excellence plus excellence might equal exhaustion. And so that's interesting. And you've got the energy word in there as well. So sometimes we want to do too much, and we do too much because we have these dreams, and building up from past games, past alphabet games, we do have the dreams, we do have the destinies, and sometimes we have to get friggin' exhausted because we have to do these things. But well,
well, yes, but also, I mean, there are so many things. Like, I'm not at a point where I can dish out some of what I do to like a virtual assistant. I mean, that would be great to get to a point where I have the structure in place and can hand something off to somebody else, because that is what we have to do, exchange some of our energy. You know, I mean, we've got to spend money. Sometimes that's a barter system. Spend money to have more energy to do what only we can do, and send out some of the jobs to other places. And I know you've played around with that model too. So
I've played around with it. I'd love to play around with it more, but there's this issue of control and knowing what we want and how we want it that often sort of peaks in, and we end up sort of embracing that I can do it all sense, you know, that I can do it all. And emotionally, it's exhausting.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. Like, emotionally, you exhausting brings your emotions up to the surface. So, like, you know, you find your anger is short, your you know, your emotions are right out there. You know, it's like you can cry more easily. So, but anyway, I want you to tell us about your word.
Well, it's like, I love how this is going, because we're having a conversation that is flowing, but it's using all of these words that come up during it. They emerge, right? These they flow and they emerge, because when we focus on something with our mind, that's where we go to. So if we focus that we're busy, and that we've got too much to do, that emotion that comes from it is obvious, because we're telling our mind that we're busy, that we've got all these things going on. So our body is following suit. It's a rule of the mind. Minds only work where they hear pictures, and they see pictures and hear stories. So how can we like allow ourselves to give our mind a different message, regardless of where we are on the exhaustion scale, right? And what's always underneath the root of so many of these limiting beliefs that we have, or even real beliefs that we have that we got to do this, is enoughness. And that's my real letter of the day, of the week, of the year is, am I doing enough? Am I enough? Or am I not enough? I've got a bracelet on here that says, I am enough, because sometimes we need to remind ourselves that what we're doing is enough, that what we have done is enough, that we don't have to keep on doing to become enough for anybody, including ourselves and other people. So it's really important in destroying some of these stories and pictures that we tell our mind, is to remind ourselves that, hey, yeah, and to celebrate ourselves. I am enough, and I've done enough, and I'm doing enough. I don't have to give anymore.
You know, when you say that, my first thought is, I am too much.
Yeah, that's the opposite. I'm not enough.
I don't have a problem with enough. I am too much. Too much out there. Too much, too much, too much.
Well, that's the extreme. I'm not enough is on one side, and I'm too much on the other side. And how can we bring it together, and how can we stay in that, responsible, regulated zone to a certain degree? That means that we still are efficient, that we're doing all the things an entrepreneur does, all the email and all of the extra stuff that we do. How can we stay in that middle zone so that we don't fall to either extreme, and really empower ourselves to be, to live in that moment, to be present?
Yeah. And I mean, I've been going back to, doesn't start with E, but time. I only have so much time. Is what I've been doing hasn't been working for the most part. So I continue investing my energy into something that hasn't had the outcome I would like.
Mhm.
So like now I'm thinking, okay, I really would like to start speaking.
Mhm.
That's another investment of my energy and time. Can I make that investment on top of everything else? I mean, I freed myself up a little bit here because I worked so hard in the winter, but did I free myself up enough to sit down and write and edit an incredible speech, learn how to give I've spoken tons of times, but I'd like to really learn how to give a passionate delivery. And then the logistics, where do I speak? I'd like to get paid to speak. How do I do that? So to me, it's all about time and
Mhm.
thinking about what do I want to do at the end of what's going to make the biggest impact.
Mhm.
And maybe I'm at the point where maybe I have to give some things up,
Yeah.
go in another direction.
And that sort of bundles itself up, in my perspective, under the umbrella of efficiency, and how we
That's
prioritize
good.
and how we manage our time and what we want to do. And again, that feeling of too muchness or not enoughness, and you just want to keep on doing and doing and creating. And that's the thing with us creatives, that we express ourselves and we want to express ourselves, but that overarching sort of body of energy that we accumulate, and how can we prioritize it? How can we become more efficient, even if it means letting go and surrendering some of that too muchness or not enoughness to bring.
The other piece of it that's totally changed for me is all because of RVing and all because of all these great places I see. I know how my heart sings when I'm out on the trails and when I'm seeing new stuff. And E is for excited as well, because I get excited, but I don't want to be sacrificing that for the work. But before, when I was just working at the office or working behind my dining room table, all I had was work, and then I had the errands, and I had small things here and there. Now I know what feeds my soul, and it's being out in nature. Now, actually, one of the words that we have from Monica is environment.
Wow. Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of tie that one in here because, I mean, it's not just, if you look around me, okay, I don't show my RV off very much. It's a small, oh, there's Coco. Hi, Coco. You see Coco. There's Miss Dolly sleeping. But my environment is not cluttered. It can't be because it's small, but outside, for me, seeing different stuff, being in nature, that's my soul.
Yeah. Yeah. You just spoke it, and environment is everything, right? And I'm going to show you mine because I don't often do this either, but as I take you over here, we can see there's a lot of nature.
Oh, yeah.
Brenda just hates the snow, I think, right? But it is your environment. It is nature. And it comes down to what your passion is, right? And those balloons up there from my daughter's 17th birthday, but getting out in nature. And I was just having a hypnotherapy session with someone actually today, and we were talking about things. And she said she saw a peregrine falcon just before our call. And I said, well, that's cool because I see eagles a lot. Eagles are one of the two birds that overwinter up here in the Yukon. The other is the raven, which I love as well.
Yeah.
But when you get out there and you see these parts of nature, whether it's beautiful beaches and waterfalls, which I love, there's a secret wish for me to be able to live 6 months in that environment and 6 months in this environment, because I need multiple environments, as do you. And you've made your dream come true. And I'm making my dream come true up here where I am in my own environment. And heck, when I worked for corporate Canada, I worked for the Department of Environment for almost 3 decades. So, there's so many different parts to it. Your environment can keep you in chaos, and it can be really messy, and it can be ugly, or
yeah.
you can.
Yeah, it downsizing, living in a small space, sort of being that minimalist.
Yeah.
It's
empowering.
It is very empowering.
Yeah.
And it helps me focus. I mean, I don't have to be thinking about picking up all this junk. And but the other things, like, as exhausted as I was yesterday's drive, I came in, I hooked up, and there's a creek right behind me. So I maneuvered myself so I could do a minute of relaxation, my 1-minute video right by the creek. And I hear different birds. For me, the sounds, my senses, like, I can pick up smells way before anybody else can. I hear the sounds, how different they are. I mean, from an island in the morning to countryside, and there's all these like purple flowers blooming. I mean, everything is so different, and that is what I love. That's part of the excitement. This is all a treat for my senses. Even when I was exhausted last night, even when I'm exhausted right now, I'm walking out here and it's like, okay, it's green. I'm not in the sand anymore.
You're alert.
Yes. Yeah. So it's where I want to be.
I like that because that's sensory environment. That's our environment. I mean, we have our external and our internal environment, if we want to, call the environment that much. And in order to join the two, those are our senses. And you said you pick up smells and you see things, and that's using all of them. That's one of the cool things that I like to do to come out of a state of stress, is to just tune into all of these things. What are you seeing? I do the 5 counts to calm. So 5 things that you're seeing, 4 things that you are hearing, 3 things that you are feeling, 2 things that you are smelling, and 1 thing that you are tasting.
Oh,
and to be able to do that. Yeah, I've got a little recording of it. I should share it here.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's a little visualization, but whenever you're under stress or something and you want that energy to come back, this is a way to embody the environment that you're in. So whether you're driving or whether you're, at a meeting with a bunch of people at a table or with your family, nobody knows what's going on in your mind. So just 5 things that I'm seeing, like right now, it's a green plant, it's a box of Kleenex, it's my phone, it's a pink cup, whatever. Have a look around, and the more detailed you can become in describing it, the longer time you're taking, embracing those sensory explorations. And then when you come out of it, like, who can smell two things? Well, I smell air, right? But you can, when you start to focus on it, I can smell it maybe on my clothes, maybe my body, whatever it is, you can smell it. And then the taste, even like the taste, like, use your tongue, explore your mouth. Like, this is what living is, and that's getting in tune with your internal environment, which is something that's just as important as the external. So to be able to integrate what's out there with what's in here.
You ready for one of the words that Eileen gave us?
Yeah.
Okay, Eileen gave us the word ego.
That was on my list too, ego. I have to just say that growing up in Australia, there was a band there, and there was a song which introduced me to even though the word ego. And it was like, ego is not a dirty word. Ego is not a dirty word. And there's a whole song to it. I'll think of some of them later, but I've been playing a lot with altered ego. I want you to tell me what ego means to you.
When I think about ego, like, sometimes we say this in a negative way. Boy, he has some ego. Boy, she has, her ego is like way up here. And it's like, shouldn't you have a robust, healthy ego? So in many ways, it's as if, especially for women, like, and I think, you work a lot with people pleaser, and I think people pleasers are afraid of their own ego. It's okay to say, you know what, I'm good at this.
Yeah.
You want to come here for financial freedom. I am so fucking good at what I do. Now, shouldn't that be what we do? Rather than putting ourselves down. So that when I think of ego, I think of all the pressures that we have to bring the ego down, as if, especially for women, that we should not promote ourselves and really, be strong. What do you think?
Yeah, I love that. And it's true that, and with most parts of us, there's a healthy and an unhealthy version. So there is healthy ego, there is unhealthy ego. So what you just described is a healthy ego, because someone's ego is really their sense of their own worth, their own self-worth. And if we don't have a healthy ego, or a healthy self-esteem, it's going to impact and affect everything, including our levels of confidence, how we show up in the world. Having an overdeveloped or an unhealthy ego can be really detrimental in relationships and whatnot. So ego is there. It is not.
Can you back up and give an example of an unhealthy ego, how that exchange might go?
An unhealthy ego, as I wrap up, but we're not just starting now. I'm going to leave that question to you, because I wanted to introduce the concept of an altered ego. And that is who you really, really, really want to be. Instead of letting all of the misconceptions, misunderstandings get in the way and stop you from being whom you are, which is verging on the sense of an unhealthy ego, the too much or the not enoughness, to be able to find that and create your own persona, that who you really want to be. Nothing in the way, no barriers, no nothing. It's just who you really want to be, and to be able to create that life. Yes, use your ego, but create that alter ego, which is really, I've got a few of them. You might have heard me talk about Ginny Jim Jim, or, my Reed and Wild, but it is. It's an excellent way to be able to call yourself back, to become more efficient, to embrace who you really are, and to embody what you really want in life, to catch those dreams and those inspirations and the passions. What do you?
Yeah. Yep. And it takes a while to figure out your alter ego, and give her a name that you can stick with. I feel like, it's like, I kind of had an alter ego, and I still, her the fictional Kate Winston, who was this kick-ass detective who really pulled me out of despair and depression, but I don't I don't really have an alter ego at this point. And it's something that I think about, especially to help on the fitness front,
Yeah.
but also on the financial front. It's like, I mean, because I talk about financial freedom. So that Kate Winston, she also pulled me out of poverty. And so I do think about how we can use alter egos to envision ourselves. Envision, that's a good one.
Mhm.
As I've got this good job, I've got this new career, I have this side hustle, I'm being smart with my expenses, I'm saving for the future. I am, and you give that money alter ego a name. I'm Mary Money. I am
There's
whatever we
there's
are.
power in that. And maybe we can put something together, because I've gotten a lot of value out of using my alter ego, Freedom Wild. Get it? Freedom Wild. And that's who I embody. That's the energy that I want. That's me enabling my.
So, hey, can I ask you something?
Yes.
How long did it take you to come up with those names?
Well, once I started experimenting and understanding and doing the work behind creating an alter ego, I was 24 hours, because I was so hungry to find that part of me and to be able to call her forward, to call her forth when I needed her. So yeah, there's a few different things. That's some of the things that I do in the coaching work that I do.
Did you have an alter ego when you were in corporate?
I probably did, that I'm not conscious of. Absolutely. But, and yeah, I'd have to think a little bit about that one.
Okay.
But it wasn't somebody, like towards the end of my corporate, I started to envision a woman who was more free and who was more wild. So if I look back to the roots of why I even came up with Freedom Wild, I'll be able to find those stories, the pictures and the words to help me understand what the root is of that. You're just like biting your lip.
Can you chat? I'm going to get something.
Oh, I can chat. And as you're getting something, it's interesting, because another E word that I really wanted to bring up today was emotional sobriety. And here Brenda and I are, and we're celebrating, living an alcohol-free life. I just hit my 900-day mark a couple of days ago. So to a certain degree, my physical sobriety has been reached. Now, a lot of people say, if you give up an addiction, or if you give up a habit, new things are going to come. But what happens when you surrender or you become physically sober is that the emotional sobriety piece underneath it has to be dealt with. Otherwise, you're going to find short fuses and tension and frustration and anger sort of coming up in the reactions all over the place, which is why hypnotherapy works at getting that stuff out of there. So yeah, emotional sobriety.
You didn't have a challenge filling that time, did you?
No, not at all.
I couldn't find what I was looking for.
What were you looking for? Let's describe it.
But I brought a hat. So
okay.
I brought a hat, because one of the things I think I've almost always done, or I've done for decades, is when I need to like switch my head around sometimes, I'll put on a different hat.
Ah.
And it's like, okay, I mean, I have my fun big party hat, I have hiking hats, but just sitting in front of a laptop sometimes, or you wear the hat a little goofy, or you just, or sometimes it's those little things like that. I was looking for my socks, the socks I bought, the last thing I bought before I lost my job. Because it was kind of like my alter ego socks.
Well, I love that you brought in wearing different hats, because we have so many different parts inside of us. And to be able to bring out that courageous or the confident one, or the entrepreneurial, or the passionate, or the restful, or the self-care, what's that say?
It's my wild wolf cup, but a cup. a mug. I have different mugs. You probably do too. And sometimes I purposely just switch them around. Like, oh, okay, well, today feels like a bear day. I've got one that has bears on it. I have another one that's got owls on it. I have a camping cup. So anyway, little tricks to get
Yeah.
your head into a different space.
So yeah, wrapping up, which we must do, which I know I never want to do.
We must.
Coming along with drinking from mugs is what we're eating, what we're putting into our body. So when you think about what you're eating, this is my summary. What are you eating? What are you seeing? What are you smelling? What are you tasting? What kind of things in your environment are you letting come in? And what kind of things are you not letting come out for the sake of being efficiency and for feeling enough, whether it's more than enough or not enough? Be able to really engage with our parts inside of our body, embrace them, embody them, and come out flying like an eagle and just feeling that alter ego part of you just roaring and ready to go. So that's my exchange. Yours.
Well, Eileen had another word down here, existing. And sometimes that's enough. It is enough to exist. It is enough to just make our presence here. It is so important to be aware of our own existence and bring our senses in, just like that. So existence.
I think, did you just use the word to just exist?
I don't know, did I? I have to rewind.
No, it's enough to just exist, but existing is so much more than just. If you did or not, maybe it was in my mind.
Yeah.
Existing, like, how do you define it? There's healthy existence and unhealthy existence. And how can you find that middle ground? Like, existing for one is different to existing for another. And if you think of it with the mindset of, oh, I'm just existing, which means survival mode, compared to I am existing and you're thriving.
Oh, right? Janine, now we could go on for another
I know, but we can't.
Sometimes, I mean, I have been in survival mode. And I would say just existing, it has to be enough for the day.
Enough. Yeah.
Yeah. That's sometimes that's all you got.
Yeah. And that's
well, are you excited to get to F's?
I am.
You're gonna need watch your potty mouth on the F's.
I don't know. There's new words in the dictionary. And if the word's in the dictionary, it's fair game. That's what I'm saying. Fair game.
Okay. Anything you want to let folks know about?
No, but if you're new to me and my space, come on into the Soul Empowerment Lounge. It's my Facebook group, and that's where I share bits and pieces of me and access to my Soul Playground, which is another platform that I got fun, free things in there, and working on inner child in the inner child room. It's so cool.
It is cool. It is cool. And it is March. So we are in $1 Million March in the Gutsy Women Finances community. Also starting to open up registration. I have a retreat in San Diego, Metro San Diego, April 22nd. And
coming up.
If you're in that area, hop in, join us. We've got Dream Life Retreat for Women. Great stuff. Our links are in the description below. Check out what we've got, and we welcome you into our world, into our community, into our love.
Awesome. Let's just express that again. No, we got to go.
Okay. All right. See y'all.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Next time. Have fun.